Hello, everyone. Amazing. We're live once again for the Ask Your Mentor Anything live series. And today we have together with us Jason. Hello, Jason. How are you? Welcome.
Hi, Virginia. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Where are you based currently?
So I live in Madrid, Spain, capital of Spain. It's very, very hot, my end, mid 30s, high 30s. I've got the air conditioning behind me full blast, and you get these temperature extremes, so it gets a bit
Here is very warm in Athens as well. So let us
Sure.
know, guys, if you can hear us, if you can see as well, if the sound of the picture is okay. Let me check as well. And as you can see, guys, today's topic is how to find more direct clients. And we got inspired about this topic from Jason's ebook that we're going also to promote today. So apart from answering all of your questions, discussing about this topic, how to find more direct clients with Jason today, you'll get the link to be able to download with a special price, a specific book, which is quite comprehensive from what I've seen so far. About getting direct clients. So thank you so much, Jason, for joining us.
You're welcome, Virginia. Thank you very much for the invite.
And let's start right away with the most common questions that my mentees ask me, and I have created those series. So one of these, apart from I would like to get to know you better, so if you would like to introduce yourself to those that do not know you, the most common question I get asked is how you started out. How did you start out as a translator initially? So would you like to tell us a few words about you? And
Yeah, thank you. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jason Willis-Lee. I've been working as a freelance translator for over 24 years now. And I was working, 19 full-time self-employed and 5 years before that in-house. I'm a medical translator because I started training as a doctor. I was training for 4 years as a student doctor. And I started... I just went into applied linguistics before I finished my clinical training. So not surprisingly, I specialized in medicine and I do clinical trials, medical reports, and research articles for academic publications. So usually I'm working on one of those three things. And then in the last couple of years, I launched a coaching offer. As you know, I do a bit of coaching on the side. I used to do that through ITI MedNet, and I enjoyed working with people so much. I thought, let's do this as a formal thing. So the book we're promoting, you're very kindly promoting today to your audience is parts of that offer. It's just a low cost book to build out that offer. But mainly I live off my translating, my medical translating. That's my main job.
So guys, if you have any questions about Jason, you can use the comments below. When you see me watching, I'm just checking your chat, guys. So as to be able to catch up with any questions or insights that you would like to share with us. We are live on YouTube, on my official YouTube channel, Virginia Katsimpiri Official, on LinkedIn, on my official LinkedIn account. With more than 10,000 followers, and also we are live in our Mentoring for Translators group with Jason. So please let us know if you can hear us, if the sound, if the picture is okay before we continue. And definitely, I would love to hear, where are you from, guys? So let us know, because the last time we were here live, Jason, with Corinne McKay, there were people from Argentina, from all over the world. We had an international community once again. So let us know, guys, where are you watching us from? So do you remember, Jason, your first client?
Oh, wow. My first client. I remember the first client whilst I was still in-house. I was working for a university in Alicante, and I was working part-time from 9 to 2:30. So I had a lot of time in the afternoons I suppose I was moonlighting, and I just kept on moonlighting until I had enough that I could leave my morning job. So I would say my first client was a university in Alicante, I think. That's 24 years ago, 24, almost a quarter of a century ago, a long time.
That's quite encouraging also for people that they have already an in-house position and a job right now, and they're thinking of turning their career and becoming freelancers, because I used to be like that, and my first, let's say, client was my previous employer. So I think your story will inspire many people that they might have a different background that would like to join the translation industry. So the second most common question is if you remember any scale-up moment in your career that you felt like safe enough in terms of your income to be able to make the next move, like to create your second business that you mentioned, or maybe that you have, let's say, achieved your financial goals.
So the two turning points, Virginia, in my career, probably going full-time self-employed, which was May 2005. So I was just turning 30. So this is almost 20 years ago. I'm just about to turn 49, so 19 years ago. And then I thought I had enough work to leave that semi-stable income. And for me, it worked out well. I was very lucky that it worked out well. So if anyone is working in-house and would like to become a freelance, I think there is no better time to be a solopreneur. I think all this hype about AI is a little over talked about. It's exaggerated. There is no better time to be a solopreneur and create your own business. And then the other pivotal point was probably 2 years ago. I had a serious illness. I had some heart failure, COVID, pneumonia, multi-organ failure, and I thought, oh, I'd really like to do this coaching business if I recover, which luckily I did. That was 2 years ago. So that was probably another pivotal inflection point.
Those were turning points in your career. Amazing. Yeah. But do you remember any scale-up moment that you felt that you achieved financially your goals, or you felt that you got, let's say, for example, in my case, was the first time that I got a 5-figure project. So I was able, let's say, to earn within a few weeks, let's say, the income that I had up to then in a whole year round. So that was a scale-up moment that helped me, to make the next step, to be able to hire people or to turn from a freelancer into a business owner. Things like that, because I think that also maybe they're not specific moments in some people's career. In my case, there were. That's why I'm sharing them. Also to encourage people that such numbers exist. So do you remember such a story?
I remember a few months, but these are not stable months. A few months getting very close to 5 figures, very close to 5 figures. So I'm a high 5-figure earner. I'm not a regular 6-figure earner. I think 6 figures is challenging. I think you can aspire towards it. But much more realistic is perhaps going for 80, 90,000. I think that's perfectly attainable if you are having stable jobs. The important thing is to get the leads, Virginia. It's important to generate leads.
Yeah, we're going to get to that, when the second part. So we're going to talk about lead generation, definitely, because that's your topic that you would like to talk about. So we're going to cover that at the second half of our video. So stay tuned, guys. The first half is about the speaker, and the second half is going to be about our topic and how to get leads. So Jason is going to describe all of his secrets. Hello, Zoe. Thank you for joining us. You're joining us from Athens. Amazing. So we see people joining us from us. So let us know, guys, where are you watching us from? I'm always curious. And let's make this kind of discussion interactive enough. So we would love, and that was my initial goal when I started out with this series, the Ask Your Mentor Anything series, to have a discussion with you and to be able to hear your insights or your questions, your challenges when it comes to getting, let's say, in terms of our today's topic, direct clients. So the next question for Jason is what is your most efficient client acquisition strategy for you?
That's a good question. It probably sounds old-fashioned, but I use a lot of word-of-mouth referrals. I get satisfied customers. I get the referrals. So I have the type of customer I have is maybe a private customer comes in once. This is a certificate customer. It's a certified job. This type of customer generally comes in just once. But then there are other customers who come regularly. These are regular accounts. These are journal article customers, medical societies. They have journals. They have regular quarterly outputs. Today, I received an order for that. So I would say probably the regular accounts who are just happy clients I picked up over the years, who are happy to. Some clients I've been working for nearly 20 years, so I have a stable roster of clients. But it's always nice to get new clients coming in, new business, and you should always be charging higher prices to your new clients than your current clients, which is hard because they've got used to the old price. It's hard to get them up to a new price, but new customers will pay more if you're giving the value. It's all about the transference of value. If you can provide value up front and make that clear in your sales conversations, that's how to get sales, basically, by communicating value.
Referrals and word of mouth, since you mentioned that, I think was the first most efficient way of getting clients for translators. When I ran my survey for my MBA, I ran a survey for my MBA thesis on what is, let's say, the client acquisition strategy for language professionals was the topic in general, and was one question, what is your most efficient client acquisition strategy? So if I remember correct, I think word of mouth was the first, let's say, voted. And the second one was, let's say, referrals, and the third, networking. So I get your point, of having those, let's say, client acquisition strategies, even if I would expect from you to hear something about lead generation, digital marketing, since you've been teaching that, but let's hear that later on.
Okay.
You mentioned earlier something about AI, and even if AI is here, you mentioned earlier, and you encouraged people to become translators because you think it's quite profitable, and I agree with you. I think that our industry is quite profitable, and especially when there is a crisis, international crisis, either we want it or not, our profession is among those that they see a rise. So I get your point. In that, encouraging people to become translators. And I think that's connected also with our topic today, because I think the solution to AI, or let's say the industries or the types of clients that will be affected by AI, I think that it will be the direct clients. And so, guys, if you haven't watched our previous live video with Corinne McKay, you can find it on my YouTube channel, Mentoring for Translators Group. We discussed about AI, and I think today's topic, how to find more direct clients, it comes like a sequence of the previous topic, because I think the solution to fight against the evolution of AI and how it's going, let's say, to change our industry is getting more direct clients. That's, let's say, my insight on that. And the second thing that you mentioned about getting more clients rather than having repeating or recurring one is the fact that we're able also to fight against, any kind of such predictions that are going to affect the way that we have been working so far, especially if we work with agencies. I don't know your opinion on that.
So I think AI is very overhyped and over talked about. I think now we're hi Jürgen from France, great. So basically, yes, there are lots of people doing good enough translations almost for free. So they're using the machines to just pre-translate something. Maybe it's an internal human resources document or something, not for publication. So you need to go for those premium jobs, which are the publications, the things that have to be slightly better or a lot better than the machines. The machines are good enough for some purposes, and they serve a purpose. I think we need to learn how to use the machines. I like a program called Bureau Works, which I had demonstrated to me, which was very powerful, I think. And we all use CapTools. So the latest wave of AI, I remember starting with Deja Vu more than 20 years ago.
I remember
I haven't used it.
Yeah.
All the tags, I couldn't see the text. There were so many tags. So eventually that got better. So there have been waves of technology. Technology always creates some form of destruction, but also opportunity. So I prefer to look at this positively and get the opportunities that are coming our way. But basically, I think it's something that has been talked about enough, I think. So we just need to calm down. I know some colleagues have left the profession. I was talking to a colleague the other weekend who's taken a job, and that's okay. And people leave because they want to do something different and they want to change in their life. And I personally like working for myself. I've been full-time self-employed 19 years, as I said, 2005. And it's gone well for me. So I don't envisage working for anyone else other than as long as my business has enough, provides enough income and leave.
And as I keep saying, like when I started studying translation back in 2007, everyone was telling me, Google Translate is going to take your work. Why you start studying something that is going to be disappeared in a few years around? And I'm still 20 years, as you mentioned, later, 17, okay, in my case. And I still have work and I have a 6-figure business. So I would suggest people not to be affected that much. And as you mentioned, many people, they book a call with me and they tell me, Virginia, I've lost my job because of AI. And when I'm asking them, can you confirm there was AI, let's say, that affected your work or your jobs, or the fact that you're not getting projects? And they confess that actually maybe I'm getting overwhelmed with information that exists online right now about AI. So sometimes, we have the perception that AI has got already our work, even if, this hasn't come yet. And of course, I don't underestimate the power of AI and how this is going to develop in the future, but it's not there yet. We haven't yet lost our job. But also depends on what types of projects, okay, that we're working on. Your work on academic, other people pharmaceutical. I think those are going to be the one that will be at last affected by AI. So it really depends also on your specialization. So last question about you. is even if you have some kind of answer that, how did you start out with coaching, mentoring? What's your relationship? And you mentioned already that you started with the ITI. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah.
It's the Institute of Translators. Is that correct?
Translation and interpreting. So the medical network is the subject-specific network of the ITI, and I would just do mentees. We would have a program to help colleagues come in, and I did that quite a few times. That was my main coaching experience, and I enjoyed that so much. I thought I'd like.
Is it voluntary, Jason? There in ITI, is it voluntary?
That was paid. There was a small stipend. I think we were paid. I think the mentee would pay us £60 and the association would pay us 120. Yeah, so it wasn't a lot of money, but it was enough to make it worthwhile. So
because many associations, they offer also free, and voluntary programs. So I definitely encourage people, if they cannot afford those services, they can go to such programs, but you don't expect to have the same results. Okay, because I've done both. I've also offered voluntary coaching for many years. So I know how it works, and I've seen the results of people when they actually decided to invest in the same coach. They had totally different results. So that's my experience. So thank you so much. Let's get to our topic, since everyone has been awaiting so much, and I see over 20 people watching us live already. So guys, if you have any questions, or what is your main challenge when you are trying to get direct clients, we would like to know with Jason. Okay, so let us know in the comments if you have any specific challenge when it comes to attracting or acquiring direct clients. So Jason, you told me that you would like to discuss about lead generation. So let's start with that, or is there anything else that you would like to start with?
Yeah, lead generation is fine. Everything comes downstream of lead generation. If your business is not generating leads, it's very difficult to make sales. So
I assume that there are people that they do not know the term leads. So maybe you would like to explain, because I've seen that in my experience, that some people in our industry, they're not that familiar with the terminology of marketing, and that, makes sense if they have never been trained or used marketing.
Yeah, so a lead is any signal of interest. It may be a very warm signal of interest, or any signal of interest of a buying signal that a customer gives you. Asking for a price is obviously a buying signal. You need to filter out those price shoppers who are just price comparison people, saying how much is your service compared to, just going for the lowest common denominator. You need to be gradually filtering out those kind of, and the way to do that, I think, is using tools that I teach, which is build a quiz. You can build a very nice lead magnet with a quiz. So I use
that's one way, just to be clear. Okay, there are plenty of ways of generating leads, potential clients, or people interested in your services. And Jason suggests one that he's an expert in, creating quiz. That's very interesting, Jason. Yeah.
So a quiz, for example, I use a tool called Score App, which is very cost effective, and you can just build a quiz. And I've worked with a couple of people building out a quiz that shows human translators as better than machine translators or machine translation or AI. So that's an example. Another example for direct clients would be a very subject-specific quiz that shows your authority, your credibility. So I think we have a very saturated and competitive market, Virginia. So we need to stand out more than anything now these days, and the way to do that is to build magnets and make ourselves easy to find. Have a very magnetic website with a nice opt-in. So I work on building out clients' websites and putting an opt-in. They may use a quiz. They may have.
I think we have many terms that the audience might not get already. So let's clarify what is, let's say, lead magnet. You mentioned the word magnet, and also you mentioned the word opt-in.
Yes.
So I assume that there are people familiar with marketing, so maybe they know it. But let's clarify. Maybe there are a few of them that they don't, and they are not obliged, of course, to know that. I'm sorry for the sound background.
Just in case, let's clarify it, define it. So a lead magnet is literally something that brings your target audience closer to you. So if you go to my website, there will be a pop-up that leads you into a worksheet, the ideal customer avatar worksheet. So I get you to work on exactly who your content is talking to. That's a lead magnet. And that's also an opt-in. So an opt-in is a way so if I go to Virginia's website, V Mentoring, I know there is an opt-in. I think it's an ebook of 60 ways of doing something. I've seen your opt-in.
It's also a lead magnet. It's also a lead magnet.
Same thing. So the way I can get closer to Virginia is getting on her list and then looking at a list, and that just builds up the trust and credibility and authority that she clearly has. And that's the way that everyone should be working, I think, to build that know, like, and trust factor. People really only buy off you if they know, like, and trust you. It's very difficult to sell to people who don't already know you. And you build trust online by using a magnet or an opt-in. And that's, I work with a lot of students who maybe they've been in the market for five years, and they have a basic shell of a website, but it's not yet with the opt-in, the lead magnet. It doesn't have the SEO, forcing traffic and eyeballs, as I always say, traffic and eyeballs to the asset. So a lot of success in business, Virginia, as you know, is building out business assets and then leveraging those assets for your in your favor for success. That's how you.
What I've been suggesting to people is to keep building their client list, because that's the wealth of their business. There is no other way to keep growing if you don't know already, when you start or when you grow your translation business or your freelance business. When I call business, I mean even the freelancers. If you don't know, beforehand, there are thousands of them out there. Even if you might not need to work with all of them, you need to know, in order to create a sustainable marketing strategy, to know that they exist. And if you would like, because you mentioned once, let's say my secret here, you mentioned the word trust. The main difference between working with LSPs, agencies, and direct clients, apart from the fact that you can charge more and the type of collaboration is different, is the way that you're acquiring those clients. They need to build the trust that Jason just mentioned. So the secret is to build that trust. And one way to build that trust is by getting them onboarded on your email list or any kind of list that Jason mentioned, so as to be able to nurture the relation. It can happen through different ways, like content marketing, adding them to your network, through the content that you've been. So there are different ways, but one very efficient way and very effective is the one that Jason just mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. Trust is key. So if you do have an email list is a massive asset. Virginia and I both have email lists, and it's nice to build out this list of prospective customers. And as you said, nurture the relationship by sending. So, for example, I'm launching a book. Then I go first of all to my list.
This is the link here. You can download the link. It's an affiliate link, so you can download ready. And I've shared also in the comments the ebook that you can download.
There's the link, and it's just a very succinct ebook, almost like a magnet for my coaching program. The things that I teach, and that's how.
But Jason, what's the most common question when we discuss about lead magnets is like, okay, for coaching it's easier, but when it comes to translation business and selling our translation services, since you have done, as you mentioned, for other people, do you have any suggestions or ideas of lead magnets or topics?
So any lead magnet that is valuable for your audience is a good option. So it could be an ebook on translation. It could be the advantages of human translation over machine translation. It could be glossaries, a subject-specific glossary. Yeah. Anything that showcases your expertise or highlights your expertise to your audience is a good. It could be a white paper. It could be, what else could it be? It could be a PDF worksheet. It could just something that creates a quick win for a customer, a target customer, and incites them to go further with you. So that you need to take people on a buying journey, and when they come in cold, when they're cold, they don't know you. You need to give them sort of options to get closer to you. That's the point of the magnet, the point of the opt-in, getting on someone's list. I'm on several people's lists. I'm sure you are as well. Following different people, entrepreneurs, and that's basically how to go. So I like to teach freelance translators how to think of themselves as business owners, as solopreneurs, as youpreneurs, as one of my mentors calls it. And that's the way to go, to build out the assets. And the website is obviously a big asset. Not to say you don't have to have a website. I have a friend and colleague who regularly invoices six figures without a website, which is an incredible achievement. He has a very
I believe that. I've seen that happening, especially using LinkedIn. If you have a very strong LinkedIn profile, you don't need a website. And I've seen that happen. So I totally agree with you.
Absolutely. You need a strong background in sales, and you need to know how to get those sales conversations going and sell regularly.
Yeah. About lead magnet that you mentioned, I remember one of my coaches that she mentioned, like the lead magnet, the topic around should be something that your clients would be willing to buy, and you're giving that for free. So don't create something that people they find already, something that they can find already online or something easily, found online or discoverable. You need to create something that your ideal clients would love to buy, but you give it for free so as to have the best results. Because I've seen many people creating lead magnets and they don't get the results. The first time I launched my lead magnet, I got 300 sign-ups, and the second time 600 sign-ups. So I had already 1,000 email list. And that doesn't happen easily. Most people, they create lead magnets and they struggle, because if the lead magnet is not of the interest of your clients, most probably you're losing time creating it, buying tools to set it up, and create a website where you are going to connect with an email list. And the second thing I would like to add, because you mentioned about email list, and some people might be afraid, oh, do I need to create an email list and an email newsletter? Okay, the ideal situation, that's it. But if you're not into that, if you think that as a solopreneur, as one business, one woman show, one man show, you don't have the resources or the time, or you're not interested, you can always have the lead magnets just to see who is really interested in your service, even if you're not willing, or you don't have the time, or you're not ready yet to create an email list. Just to clarify, because I've seen many people asking me such questions when we have that discussion. But of course, what Jason mentioned here is the ideal situation, but there are other ways that we can use a lead magnet in case we are not there yet ready to create a newsletter or to use our email list properly, like Jason mentioned. I assume, Jason, everything is included in your book. Is that correct, that we're discussing here?
I hope so. All of this should be in the book. Yes, should be in the book.
Okay.
I mentioned all these things. Yeah, an email list is great to, if you got an email list of 1,000 very quickly, that's an amazing achievement. I have several hundred subscribers, not quite into 4 figures, but I like it's just nice to talk to a large amount of people at the same time. So you need a CRM to do this. A CRM is a customer relations manager. So I use a program called Active Campaign, which is fairly cost effective, 15 euros a month. Other people use ConvertKit or MailChimp.
It's 15 euros for you that you have hundreds of people, because I use Active Campaign and I have, let's say, over 4,000 people on my list. So this increases. Okay, the price. So for me, it's quite expensive right now. As you realize, it started $15 per month, but right now I think I pay over 70 per month or something like that. So
yeah. So the higher the number, the higher the list number, the more. But it's a very powerful tool. And the other thing I would mention, Virginia, is you can segment the list. So if you only want to deal with parts of the room, so maybe you're dealing with parts of the list who are interested in email marketing, you can hopefully have a tag, and you can just basically tag people according to their interests or what they're clicking on, and you can just talk to a very small segment of your list, which is a very interesting way of not bothering people who aren't interested in what you're saying with the whole list, and just concentrating on that small segment. So
they are very powerful, such tools. We can talk for hours, but let's get back to our topic, because if you have questions, guys, you can ask Jason directly. If you have questions about technology or myself, let us know in the comments, or you can get in touch with us after the live session. But because we promised you 3 different topics we're going to cover, let's go through them directly. Unless, Jason, is there anything else you would like to add about quizzes, like how we can use quizzes to get direct clients? Because for coaching business, I think it's clearer to me, but for direct clients, maybe people, they have some kind of questions on that.
So for direct clients, you would need to devise a quiz. So some ideas would be showcasing human translation as better than, so just giving the impression that human translation is better. I think that's an interesting one. Yeah, a quiz may be more suitable for products, small business owners, but it can be used for service provision as well. So that would be lead magnets. Another nice way of generating leads is having your social proof and testimonials. This is absolutely key. I work with people with websites with no social proof for testimonials. It's very difficult to buy from somebody if you don't see a positive outcome from somebody else. So it's nice.
But did we answer about quizzes? Did we answer the quizzes and how we can use quizzes as lead generation? Have we answered that?
I think it was clear. Okay. I think it was clear. Yeah.
Okay. I see Camila that she says that I read your book, Jason. Is very insightful. Thank you, Camila. Where are you from? Thank you, Zoe. Camila, where are you from? Let us know in the chat. I see some comments from several different resources. Amazing.
So I enjoyed it.
Is there anything else you would like to add, Jason, before I ask you the next topic? Is you mentioned that the discover lucrative niche specializations, niche down to find your lifestyle business sweet spot and become a shoulder tapped.
Let's go on to niching.
Experts, yes, because we promised that. Yeah, we promised to talk about those 3 topics. Yeah.
So niching is something I've niched down into medical. I've super niched. So I think I'm fairly authoritative when I talk about niche. You may have a niche already, but you can niche down further. So I'm talking about, would you just the kind of clients you'd like to work for? Would you like to work for small and medium-sized companies? Would you like to work for a large, sprawling firm with a big HR department and sell horizontally and vertically? You need to sort of think about what your ideal customer is, but niching down is the way to specialize. And it took me several years, Virginia, before I was doing financial translations for a few years, my annual accounts and these things coming in at tax time. And I was doing several years working 9 to 6, selling high volume, low unit price, I think. And I gradually just got better at what I was doing. And I started doing lower volumes and higher prices. Which is the situation now, and niching down. So I gradually just said, like, just do medicine, which is what I was familiar with because of what I studied. So whatever your niche is, don't try and be a jack of all trades, because it's difficult to be a master of all of them. You'll be a jack of all trades, master of some. The expression is master of none. So I think you do have to niche down, and the sooner you niche down, the better. And if you can niche down within your niche, so within financial, for example, I met a English to Spanish translator at the BP event in Seville, and she was doing equity reports. So she was very super niche down into equity reports, and this is BBVA asset management. And she was working on also a very affluent area. So I thought she was very successful because she was super niched down. So the first, one of the early topics I bring to the fore in my book is niching down. I have a chapter called Niche Your Way to
Yeah, many people might ask us why we start with niching down and why we think, specialization or by niching down, we're going to get direct clients. For me, it's pretty clear. And because you mentioned earlier about trust, I think it's easier to build that trust with your potential clients, especially if they see that you have the background. Of course, not everyone can be a doctor to become a medical translator or a lawyer in order to become a legal translator. But as you realize in your case that you have this background, it's easier for you to build that trust and credibility with your potential clients. Is that correct, Jason?
For me, it was very easy because that's what I'd studied. You're quite right. You don't have to be a doctor or a lawyer to be a medical or legal translator.
That would be impossible. Yeah, that would be impossible, I think.
It would be impossible. I know some very good medical translators who did not study medicine. Maybe they spend more time on Wikipedia and the what I call TTR, desktop research, so that online research and finding terms and glossaries, and maybe they spend more time. So for me, it was a natural choice to do medicine, and most of what I do is on that topic. So do think about a niche if you're starting out, or if you're 5 years in, work out how you can niche down further. Because if you have a niche, you can also niche down further and go deeper in your niche. I think this is essential because you just want a thin sliver of the market. You don't want to be talking to everyone. You just need this is sometimes called a minimal viable audience or product. For entrepreneurs, that's more a business term, MVP. You just want that minimal viable audience looking at you and building trust and relationships with that audience.
So thank you for sharing that. Camila says that she's from Argentina, that she has read your book, and she's currently in Australia. So I'm always very honored, people, that they are joining us from the other side of the world. So amazing. Thank you guys for joining us and for letting us know where you're watching us from. And also we have from France and from Athens. So let us know, guys, because I see many people watching us. And of course, if you have questions, if something that we're discussing with Jason, you think that it's something that you do not know about and you would like clarification, please share any kind of questions here in the chat. So getting back to specialization, and let's say to cover up, unless, guys, you have any questions, drop them in the chat. And if you're watching the replay, use the hashtag replay and tag me or Jason so as to be able to get back to you. Specialization for me, apart from the fact that it's very important to build the trust with people that they have never heard of you before, like the direct clients, for me are also very important when it comes to digital marketing, since you're an expert in that as well, Jason. Like if you really want to attract through keywords your ideal clients, The only way to do this is by niching down. The more targeted your audience, the more you niche down, and the more, let's say, keywords you use in your copy, on your LinkedIn profile, on your website, the higher you will rank in the results when someone is going to look for someone like you with your own credentials. Why is that? Because most people in our industry, Jason, they have this kind of misconception that the more general your audience, or the bigger your audience, or the more broader, let's say, your niche, the more clients you will be able to serve. And it makes sense in terms of numbers. But when it comes to optimizing your online presence, and I'm connected with the second part of our discussion here, when we want to optimize our online presence and we want keywords just to be able to rank higher than our competitors in the results and to be able to be discoverable through search engines, if we have a very specialized profile, like the ones that you mentioned of the people that you met at BP, I think that you have more chances to rank higher, or to rank at least at the results in Google search and LinkedIn search. So that's also something that we shouldn't underestimate when it comes to niching down.
Yeah, absolutely. This is something that brings us to the optimization of the online profiles. This is SEO.
Exactly.
I'm not an SEO expert, but as you say, the more you research your keywords without stuffing your copy with the keywords, don't do that. But just have the basic keywords that you need to be found, and put these into your LinkedIn title. Your title of your profile should have some keywords there, and your website should be picking up a lot of traffic. It should be indexed on Google. You should be indexing your pages, and you should be having some form of rotating content, like a blog, that the crawler picks up. So the Google crawler picks up, and the more content you index, the more you get found. So if you are doing regular content, something I should do more often. I should be doing probably one post a day.
All of us, I think, yeah.
All of us can do more, but there's so many things to do in online business, isn't there? It's very difficult to have all the hats on at the same time. But certainly I teach people to index their websites and make sure the content is being found, because that's when you just type in sitemap.yourdomain.com, and that will tell you what Google knows about you, and you'll see the number of pages indexed. But certainly SEO, you need a good consultant who understands SEO. You need a good tool. I like SEMrush. SEMrush is quite expensive. It can be quite expensive, but that's a good one. Mangles is another one. Google Keyword Planner, I think, is another one. So there are some less expensive tools to more expensive tools like SEMrush. But certainly once you have a website, there's absolutely no point if it's gathering dust on the digital shelf. You need people looking. You want eyeballs and traffic on your website, which is a huge online asset.
So thank you for sharing such technical part. I assume some people might not understand exactly. You can definitely watch the recording again, okay, and pause at this part, and you can look for those tools that just Jason mentioned. And of course, you can contact Jason or me if you have any questions later on. And I understand that's difficult part, the technical, but what we would like you to get from this live today is the importance of niching down and how you can take this in order to optimize your online presence accordingly. It's a step-by-step process, also the same that I teach in my mentorship programs. And in terms of tools, of course, Jason just mentioned the best tools that exist, but in our case as translators, because not many people in our industry, they have gone into this, you don't need to invest that much money, at least in my opinion, at the beginning, in order to create, let's say, an optimized LinkedIn profile. By keywords, in my case, at least when I mentor or coach other people, is to use words that your ideal clients would use, okay, to find you or someone like you. It's not something super difficult, something that you should hire someone to tell you. We usually have the answers for our business, at least in the beginning. When you have used all of the resources that you own, then okay, it's the time that you need to invest. But here, Jason, you mentioned in the title, build a super viable opt-in that solves a quick problem to attract your best idea target clients. And that's really interesting. I think it has to do again with the quizzes that we were mentioning, the lead magnets. Is that correct?
That's one of the opt-ins you could use, which is a quiz, absolutely. And as you were saying, the more you speak your target client's lingo, as you were saying, the more you... So one way to do that is to go to industry events and not get away from the competitor-rich events, translator events, and go to client-side events. So really come outside your comfort zone, research the event. I have done this in the past, and it's a completely different feeling. You go to an event where you don't know anybody, I went to a neonatology conference. I think I tell this story in the book. And I asked my client, what session should I attend? And he said, go to this one on hypoxia, this one on early fetal death syndrome, and go to this one. So I went to the ones he said, and I found a very interesting environment, Virginia, where I got my card and my offer out to junior doctors doing a poster session, and I had several people interested in my product after that. So if you do go to a client-side event, it is outside your comfort zone, but you will find it much, it's not as sociable as the Translator events. And let's face it, there is a social aspect to a conference. Yeah. But it's nice to get that, sometimes it's good to be uncomfortable and just go to an event which is way outside your comfort zone. That's where the personal growth happens, outside of your comfort zone.
You mentioned earlier about our events and that they're competitors' events. Sometimes, our colleagues might be our clients. In some cases, of course, they're not direct clients, and we cannot mention, since we're talking about direct clients, the ideal event is to go to direct clients' events and get out of your comfort zone, as Jason mentioned. But I've heard many people getting a lot of jobs and clients by attending, our industry translation industry events as well. But if you would like to acquire, let's say, direct clients, then definitely networking. But getting back to online presence, why we referred to go to events in order to find out their needs? Why you referred to going to events, Jason?
Why did I refer to events? That's a good question.
Because we were talking about online presence and the quizzes. So I was looking to connect with the topic that we were discussing.
Yeah, the quiz can be a very good lead magnet. So that's a powerful lead magnet if you find a quiz that is good for a service provider audience. So a quiz is often used in entrepreneurial circles for small business owners who want to sell more. But I think for our audience, for you guys who are all hopefully freelance translators, you need to find a quiz that will showcase your expertise. So make it subject specific to show that you've thoroughly researched your field. That you need a niche, or you can showcase the value of human translation for those publication pieces, journal articles.
And the people they answer those quizzes and they put their email in order to get the answers. Am I getting that correct? Is that correct?
Exactly. So in exchange for the answers, and hopefully there will be a results page, something very valuable that can be educational, you then have the right to get the email and market to that email as we both do. Having people's emails, we're happy to hear from you from time to time. Obviously not.
And many people, they're asking how they can find ideas of topics that their idea clients would be interested in. Of course, I have some answers, let's say, for that. But what's your approach?
So I would do my market research by going to the events, the client-side events, which I think
that's why we mentioned events,
and really show your target audience that you know your stuff, you know your onions, you really know what the target market is about, and that you are able to, that your service will provide a good solution for these clients. Everyone wants.
You need a market research, but market research, you don't need to pay someone. We mean like monitoring the activity of your idea clients or their websites or news alert or websites like Quora or Answer the Public, and see what, let's say, your idea client they're asking about or their interests. At least that's my approach. If you have more questions, let us know in the chat or get in touch with Jason or myself. And let's get back to the last part of the things that you would like to discuss, which is showcase your authority and credibility regularly through a LinkedIn newsletter or one to your email list. So we touched a bit the email list, but we didn't discuss about LinkedIn newsletter. So you've been using that, Jason, yourself?
So this is a strategy that I teach. It's basically getting people confident posting online. It doesn't have to be through an email list. You can do this on LinkedIn, Instagram. You just need to be confident posting online. Start small. Start once a week or once a month. I started my newsletter, I think, once a month, and I gradually built it up. Now it's summertime. I'm a little slower. People are on holiday. But usually it's weekly. From September to June, it's a weekly call. And I just teach something about personal branding, have a little story. The other thing is to use storytelling in your content. Stories sell. Why? Because stories resonate with us as humans. We're all humans. And people want to do business with humans. They don't want to do business with a robot. And that's called a P2P or a people-to-person-to-person strategy, or P2P plus. Remember that business is done human to human, so that's why you need to get out, do the events, spend the time and money. There is a time and money invoice on that, on going to a client-side event. I understand that. But you will get much more out of the events than if you do. I'm constantly deciding, do I do this event in person or online? I can't go to every single event, so I need to ration for you as well. We live in certain parts of the world. We can't be everywhere at the same time. So you need to work out a strategy and a budget, and work out how much you're going to spend, and then track your ROI, your return of investment, on that amount. But certainly a LinkedIn newsletter, you need to have 150 followers, I think, on your corporate account to get LinkedIn, I think. So I've just hit 150. So that's something I plan to implement in September. We're hiring a copywriter to help us with that. And it's basically repurposing the newsletter I already do on my active. So it's not extra work. It's working smarter, not harder. It's just multiplying. These are force multipliers. So it's just getting the same content out to a different channel. And basically you get extra authority and extra credibility. And what does that build? That builds trust. So what we talked about before, and
it builds trust. It gets you in touch with your audience. You can showcase your expertise. You can let them know what you do. So definitely is how we nurture the relationship with our potential clients, or one way to do that. So summing up what we discussed today, guys, with Jason, is we discussed about the necessity of niching down. Why is it so important to create a strategy to get direct clients? Why is it so important to turn to direct clients in comparison to LSPs, especially because of AI? So we discussed that in the first part of the video. So if you missed the first part, you can watch the recording. Will remain on my YouTube channel, LinkedIn profile, and in the Mentoring for Translators group. So you can watch it as many times as you want. So go back and find out about strategy, the necessity of turning to direct clients, AI, and why is it so important for your strategy to niche down. Then, of course, Jason talked a lot about technology and tools. So you can find a list of potential tools for keyword search, for CRM systems, for opt-in, for quizzes. So I think Jason, he has said a lot of expertise on that. So you can, again, watch the recording and let us know if you have any more questions on that. We discussed about the next step after niching down, which is to optimize your online presence and how you can create a lead magnet and opt-in form. And also Jason explained the meaning and the terminology of those terms throughout the video, so go back and get to know them. And of course, how to regularly, as you see here in the title, to be able to showcase your authority and your credibility by having a newsletter either on LinkedIn or your email list, or you can do that through your content marketing campaigns. Sorry, Jenna, there's so many other ways. For me, it's the most important is to find a way that you feel more comfortable going after, because if you choose one method that really doesn't fit your personality or your schedule right now and you feel overwhelmed, you're not going to be consistent, and consistency for me is the key. Thank you so much, Eve, that you find that interesting.
Thank you, Eve.
Amazing. So is there anything else, Jason, you would like to add and we missed about today's topic?
Just keep going. So the mindset of keeping going. If you give up, there's only one sure way to fail, and that's if you give up. But if you are passionate about what you do, you need to keep going. And that's tough. Sometimes you have a bad day or a bad week or a bad month, or your income isn't what you expected it to be. And it's hard starting out until you get a bit of traction and a bit of all these things are built out, the assets, the audience, the content. It's easy, but Virginia and I started out 17 and 20 something years ago. So we did it, and we made a success of it. So it is possible for you to be successful. And as I said earlier, I think there is no better time to be a solopreneur or a small business owner than now, despite all the hype about AI. And AI should be used to our advantage and making things easier and saving time, buying back your time with AI. So I think a mindset is important, and just keep going and set your goals intentionally, and you will achieve them.
For me, mindset is 80 to 90% of the work. Is what separates the best from the rest. Knowledge exists out there, technology and tools, you can find them out there. Yeah. The main, let's say, obstacle is our personality and our thoughts, that they're keeping us behind of actually pursuing our goals and going after. Just to mention that before we close, I had the mentoring session of the 3-month group coaching program, the ultimate LinkedIn prospecting system. And one of my mentees, she has 20 plus years of experience. So she has a lot of experience in mentioned that I had never contacted clients to ask for testimonials. So thank you for helping me and pushing me to get out of my comfort zone, because I got, surprisingly, she was surprised that she got so many positive and kind messages back. So I think by not, getting out our comfort zone and doing that, making that step to contact our clients, we're missing so many aha and positive moments, having in our mind, what if they ignore us? What if they don't get back to us? So what? You're missing so many good moments because you're afraid of just, asking for the small recommendation, which is what's the worst case scenario? Not to get an answer. That's it. But the best case scenario, like Natalie mentioned in my mentorship program, she got so many kind messages. She didn't expect that. So definitely what Jason just mentioned is mindset work, a lot of mindset work. Everything else you can find it online. But if you need more help from Jason, here is the book. It has everything inside. That's an affiliate link. You see it here passing through your screen. I have said in the comments as well. And also we're preparing also some other affiliate links. I will come back to you in my email list, my newsletter also, and on my social media, I will be sharing Jason's courses and next steps, promoting his resources, helping other colleagues to become entrepreneurs and think like businesses. Boyanka says, great guidance, a lot of opportunities. Thank you, Boyanka. Thank you also for being in my program. So that was it for today. I don't know, Jason, is there anything else you would like to add?
Thank you very much for having me. It was a privilege to be on your channel. Thank you, and
thank you so much.
Best of luck to everyone. I hope.
Thank you so much for being so generous, for sharing publicly your knowledge. Okay, and that's really important in our industry, I think, and everyone appreciates that. So, guys, if you have more questions about Jason, you can contact Jason here in the group or contact him directly on LinkedIn. Is how you would like to be contacted, Jason, from people?
You can follow me on LinkedIn, or my Instagram is Entrepreneurial Translator. You can find me on one of those platforms, or my website, entrepreneurialtranslator.com.
Perfect. So you can contact Jason directly. You can download his ebook. He's going to launch also his Amazon book, and we're going to share also about his courses. From Ivory Coast, the country of okay, we're having people that they are joining us, as I mentioned, from all over the world is our audience, Jason. And a few minutes just to, Panama again. We have Miguel from Panama. Amazing, guys. Thank you for mentioning where you are watching us from. The recording will remain at your disposal. So if you're watching the replay, use the hashtag replay and tag us so we'll be able to see your questions. And just to mention that the fully booked translator formula will start again in 2025, but we have a VIP list. So I'm sharing in the chat the link for those that they would like to get on the wait list. For that, and of course I have shared the link to get Jason's ebook, which is really, really helpful, comprehensive, and includes much more information than the one that we just said in a few minutes here. It's quite comprehensive, so it's a step-by-step process. Get the book and let us know if you have any more questions. So again, Jason, thank you once again. I'm closing the video, guys. Thank you for joining us here. Thank you for staying that long with us. Let us know if you have any topics that you would like us to add in the upcoming live series, and stay tuned for the news about Jason's new Amazon link and courses and things like that. So thank you, everyone. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you. Bye-bye for now.